Friends, today we are going to discuss about hierarchical parser transformation. Basically, this transformation helps to process XML or JSON file sources to relational tables or even CSV also we can output. But today we are taking the use case to read the XML file on simple employee XML file I'm taking and parsing using hierarchical parser transformation, and one of the column called date. It's not straightforward, it is coming as string, we have to convert as date field. Once it is converted from expression transformation, finally we are passing that information to ot underscore emp JSON oracle schema table. So yeah, let us try to see how it's going to be implemented. We'll see. So the first most thing I can show the, so I'm going to create a mapping, but before to the mapping, basically the other steps we need to keep it in mind is like we have to uh, create a hierarchical schema as well for parsing purpose. Okay, schema to be defined. This is the first most step before jumping into the mapping. Once it is defined, only we can get into the source level XML, because when we are jumping into transformation side, the defined mapping we are going to consume it so that the source XML file can be properly parsed here. Because okay, then only the pass output we are going to do it. The other thing is this XML file is not straightforward. We are going to define as a indirect file. Define as indirect file. When I say indirect file, it's like emp underscore file dot txt file will be there. Under that we have defined the actual path with for example learning slash emp.xml path, absolute path we are going to define it. So that indirect file will be and pointed into hierarchical paths. So when I'm going to implement, you will see all those things one by one. Okay, let us jump into mapping now. So before to that, I've already defined a schema definition, so I'm not going to repeat that step. So let me show that how I have done. So this is the schema already defined. See the schema I've defined. So how to do the schema definition, I'll just quickly walk you through. So you need to go new assert and go to components and hierarchical schema here. So probably okay, I'll create a new one if you want. So I don't want to repeat the steps. So with that the XML schema and the root element, everything will be getting. So once this is defined, we are going to create a mapping now. Okay, so let us try to create a mapping. So here, as I told you, I'm going to point the indirect file which is holding the emp.xml. So I'm selecting CSV flat file. Okay, so this is the file where in which I've defined the path, the absolute path with the XML file. You can see the column information as well. That's it. So this is the first most step, and the next step we are going to define the XML file hierarchy parser. Okay, so this hierarchy parser. So before connecting to the source, let us try to call the schema what we defined. Okay, so for example, in our case, this is the schema I have defined. I'm going to select it. Okay, once this is done, let's go back to the mapping again and try to connect it through hierarchy parser now. Okay, once it is connected, the next step you can see here. See, now the XML file path, the indirect file path information is coming. So we have to map it in the field map the field selection. Okay, so once this field selection is done, then we have to map all the descendants. Okay, so that from the XML parsing you'll be getting the field information will be parsed properly. Now it is parsed properly. The next step, as I told, this hire date is in string, and this is not straightforward to pass it to the target. So what we are going to do is we are going to introduce one expression transformation here. Okay, so let us try to use expression transformation. Okay, and pass it to expression transformation. Okay, so and here we are going to define one output food. So which, so see here, for example, I'm going to define o underscore IRT. Okay, so here this field I'm going to pass it, and when I'm going to pass it to underscore date, since this particular hire date field also consists of the milliseconds, I'm going to skip that millisecond. For that reason, I'm only using substring. Okay, and I'm using the formatting section. Okay, okay, that's it. Now we can validate the expression. The expression is valid. So now we can close it, and now we can pass this, we can to the target. Okay, but before to that, let's try to okay, let's try to create a target. So now let's create a table called t underscore emp underscore JSON as well from emp. So the table got created. Okay, the table is empty now. T underscore emp underscore JSON. So we'll try to point this table in the mapping as a target table now. Table has been, now we'll do the mapping. Okay, all the field mapping we can do that, but now one thing is we have to unmap this higher date because we have done an expression. Okay, so that's it. Now we can save the mapping. It should be valid now. Yeah, the mapping is valid. So now we can run the mapping and double check that it's been loading properly. Yeah, the job has been kicked off. Let's go back and see the job is going through smoothly. Yeah, the records have been loaded successfully. See, the one source have been read from the indirect file, and 14 records from the XML has been properly processed and loaded. So this is the output what we can see once it is loaded. Okay, thank you friends for watching my video. Please subscribe my channel.